Hey everyone, and welcome back to Exposing SMG. Pete Davidson has suddenly become a household name for those keeping up with the pop culture world on social media. Now don't get angry, I said household name for the people keeping up with him, but even then, why? What is so special about Pete that he's suddenly being talked about? Is it his good looks, charm, education, role on Saturday Night Live maybe? Sure. Or can it be that he's suddenly pulling some of the biggest names in Hollywood and being called a woman magnet? In the past few years, Pete has had some of the greatest women on his arm. For starters, we have pop icon Ariana Grande, then Hollywood itself Kim Kardashian, and now he's dabbling in the modeling world with news reporting that he's dating Emily Ratajkowski. So aligning with today's topic, social media has been clowning itself, asking why a guy who looks like this is getting with girls who look like that. And the people behind these tweets and questions are most definitely men, because they're viewing Pete Davidson from the male gaze. And the male gaze is telling them, why on earth are these girls falling for this skinny, pasty, okay-looking dude when there is an attractive bodybuilder right next door? And that brings us to our topic of why women in this day and age love men like Pete Davidson. We will dabble a little bit further into the female gaze and why guys like Pete fit the criteria. The male gaze versus the female gaze. Tale as old as time, well, not really. Thanks to TikTok, this comparison between how men and women think has reached a huge audience because it sheds a lot of light into the dating world and the psychology of attraction. Basically, if you're not familiar, the concept is to show you what men and women think is attractive. For example, the male gaze is when a guy thinks a girl is going to find him attractive if he has a six-pack and is a gym rat, when in reality, what she might find attractive is a guy who cooks and writes poetry. And the female gaze is often looked at as more intimate, raw, and emotional, which is why some women might go crazy over Sir Timothy III. Nah, I'm just playing. But this guy Timothée Chalamet, because he appears in a more feminine light while still casting himself in a masculine way. It's kind of like both genders like to find a little bit of themselves in their own attraction. Girls might like guys who come off soft and homey, while guys will find themselves drooling over girls with an edge who come off a little bit dominant and bitchy. Oftentimes, nobody will admit that because they themselves don't know how to verbalize what they're attracted to. So how does this bring us to Pete Davidson? Well, according to the female gaze, these women clearly like Pete for reasons that have nothing to do with a six-pack and or a gym membership. Ariana, Kim, and Emily all seem to have one thing in common, and that is they're using Pete Davidson to serve as some sort of comfort in their lives. Successful women like to be with someone who can offer them something they can't give themselves. And a lot of times for these ladies, Pete Davidson is the light and laughter they need after a rough patch. We'll start with Ariana Grande. Ariana and Pete got together in May 2018, and this was after a few traumatic life events in Ariana's life. To keep it short, it was the Manchester attack that happened a while back, and it was the ending of a long-term relationship with Mac Miller, may he rest in peace. Ariana needed something that was going to make her forget about her worries and just find the joy in life again. So when she met this clown, she knew she had to hold on to him for a little bit longer. And Pete brought something new for Ariana, and that was a man who isn't trying to be so stable in life. He embraced his issues and found a way to make light of them in a term we all know as dark humor. And there's nothing more girls love than a funny guy who's gonna make them forget all about their issues. The first day Pete and Ariana met, he told her, "I'll marry you tomorrow," and when she called his bluff, He sent her a bunch of engagement rings to choose from, and then he literally proposed. Now that is one hell of a way to make a lasting impression, because all of a sudden, A-list pop star Ariana Grande, who just went through very traumatic life events, was engaged and living with SNL comedian Pete Davidson, who nobody really knew of at the time. I like to say she put him on the map. Let's move on to Pete's next quest, and that was Kim Kardashian. Iconic businesswoman Kim gets tangled up with clowny Pete. How does this happen? All the men scream as they lift 95-pound weights, wondering why the only other people who care are men also lifting 95-pound weights. Well, you ask, I answer. What did Pete have to offer Kim? I don't know. Maybe some joy and comfort after her public divorce and harassment from ex-husband Kanye West? Pete is a symbol of freedom and clownery in the industry. He's like a breath of fresh air. He's the guy you start hanging out with because he's funny and makes you feel good about yourself. He's the type that makes you think, wow, he's a mess, and although I'm glad he's messier than me, I'm kind of into it. This is why Pete's charms work very well on rich, independent, and successful women. It's not like Pete is out here vibing with the messiest of messy. It's people who are missing something in life. Because at the end of the day, when you've built yourself up and lived this lavish life, when something in it goes missing, there comes a point where you just want something temporary and exciting. Something that isn't stable and won't be there long enough for it to be a problem. And there's nothing more exciting than doing something out of your league, and that's what Kim did. Everyone almost fainted when they saw Pete pulling Kim Kardashian. It was almost like, man, I didn't even know you could be an option. And it brought Kim back to her youthful days where she was giddy and being seen with a man who brings the same stability as a 13-year-old. But there's something freeing about not having a care in the world and doing something that's for you. Pete is lighthearted and he's fun to be around despite his dark humor and trauma. Pete freed Ariana's mind from her anxiety, trauma, and worry. Pete gave Kim that youthful kick of excitement and risk, especially after she just spent a decade and a half building the entire Kardashian brand. These women needed some rest from reality, and Pete was ready to serve with his dark humor and light take on the world. What Ariana and Kim both had in common was that they felt as if they lacked control in their lives, being mega famous and all. And Pete was the guy they were ready to rebel with. The fact that Ariana said yes to his proposal was insane. An image-obsessed Kim, who was in a decade-long relationship with Kanye West, dating him was also kind of crazy. It made people think, is he a magician? And now on his further quest, we have Emily Ratajkowski. Emily too, all the frat boys scream. Yes, Emily too. Pete won't stop at nothing till he steals your girl as well. Just kidding. Emily. What is missing in your life that Pete Davidson has to fix? Temporarily, of course. I don't think Pete's instability allows him to be in a long-term relationship. There just comes a point where you're either gonna kill the relationship or just kill him. Pete's the guy you have a few messy, fun months with. He's not really the guy you marry. For those of you who don't know, Emily was married to Sebastian Bear McLeod, who was a film producer, actor, and director. The two have been married since February 2018 and got divorced recently in September 2022, about 2 months ago, and the media is reporting that he allegedly cheated on her. Emily said in an interview with Harper's Bazaar that she has never been single before the breakup and she's feeling all the emotions. The excitement and joy of being newly single, but also the sadness and anger. And who better to turn that frown upside down than Mr. Pete himself? Emily knows that she and Pete aren't going to be long-term or even get married, but that's the joy of having him around. You get to enjoy him without having to carry any of his emotional or traumatic baggage. And in return, he gets to do the same. It's not like these beautiful, successful women are using Pete. They all know what this entails, and so does he. At the end of the day, they can all agree it's fun to do something that doesn't have the added stress of longevity. It's fun to be with a guy that you know in a few months you won't worry about, and the same goes for him. I'm sure he enjoys his company with these people, and they're also satisfying whatever bucket of his that needs to be filled. Pete is there for you when your life has turned to shit and you need something enjoyable. You don't go to him for money or status, you go because you need someone to be different from your everyday life so you can escape reality for a bit. Also, there is one thing I want to shed light on real quick. When celebrities date each other, they often run into this issue of one-upping the other. Fans love when two A-listers get together because the bigger the better, and why get with the loser, right? Well, here's what you have to understand. The bigger the celebrity status, the more baggage it comes with. Look at Kanye and Kim, Justin and Selena, Brad and Angelina, The Weeknd and Bella, Miley and Liam. This theory of ours is why you often see so many celebrities get into chill relationships or get with someone out of their lane after being in such a high-profile one. And this is why we have Pete and Kim, Justin and Hailey, Bella and Mark, Miley and Cody Simpson, remember that? A whole lot goes into dating and attraction, and celebrities are just like us. The final takeaway, women in Hollywood love Pete because he offers them something emotional that they are not getting from these other men or themselves. He doesn't take himself or life all that serious, even in times when he should, which makes him a great companion for a short period of time, because let's be real, a guy who's not stable is not a guy you're going to be long-term with. But these ladies aren't looking for the long-term, they're looking for a break, a breath of fresh air, an escape from reality. And that's exactly what Pete gives them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was fun to talk about because we dabbled a bit into the world of psychology. Let me know what other videos you want us to make that also sheds light into the celebrity world and science. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.